Welcome to another episode of Hard Factor presented by the Barstool News Network. It is Monday, March 16th, 2020, and Mark is still out doing battle with the coronavirus one-on-one, but he should be back soon. Victorious is what I hear. Tonight, we've got Wes on an update of the corona apocalypse, me on a recap of last night's Democratic debate, and then Pat on a lightning round of other headlines to get us going, Wes.
All right, guys. Well, first, I want to check in. Did everyone have a nice quarantined weekend practicing social distancing?
Yes.
Okay. I know.
Yes.
I know. Pat is pretty sure he has corona, but hopefully
I'm like 100% positive.
How are you 100% positive? You look healthy to me.
It seems that way because I'm strong. But if you were in my body, you would know that there's just total panic.
So you have fever, dry cough, trouble breathing.
I don't know. Maybe.
Pat, have all those symptoms?
Yeah.
It's possible, Will. It's possible.
Okay. You sound like you have none of them.
My point is, guys, I'm sure a lot of you are feeling the I probably have corona blues. Which, if you sneeze weird, even though like I picked up a cat and I know that I'm allergic to cats, and I sneezed afterwards, and I was like, that's definitely a corona sneeze, not a cat allergy sneeze. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny to go out in public. Like if my girlfriend and I went to the movies and she sneezed, and it was awkward because it's like, oh fuck.
I wanted to say to you, Wes, we haven't spoken over the weekend. It was irresponsible for you guys to go to the movies.
It was.
He also didn't Lysol the chairs. Fact checked you on that. Nice try trying to tell me on Twitter that you did Lysol them. I know that's a lie.
By the way, did you guys see how they're handling that video, how they're handling coronavirus in Memphis, where the parents are straight Lysoling their children?
Oh, yeah.
It's my favorite video of the year.
That's a great video. It was irresponsible. I'm staying in from now on.
What'd you watch?
Well, we went to a movie that we figured would be empty, which it mostly was, Bad Boys for Life, which sucked. It's been out for a while. It was a small theater, so we figured that we'd be, some of the only ones. There did end up some people coming, but everyone kind of social distanced themselves. Even like people got up and moved their seats, to stay away from everyone.
That's
so
smart.
Yeah,
smart.
So it worked out okay.
Pat, did you stay in all weekend?
Yeah, I do it. I do that every weekend though.
Yeah,
I walked.
That's same here, pretty much.
Yeah.
So social distancing is my norm. So.
Yeah, I just smoke some marijuana, watch the stuff.
Yeah.
Good. Well, yeah, as Will said, Mark is still out there fighting the good fight. I think he said he bought one of those ancient swords of the Meth King online to aid in his battle, so things should be slowing down for Corona any day now, hopefully. But that brings us to what is happening as of the time of this podcast, and if you want to really scare yourself, go to the worldmeters.info/coronavirus chart. It's just like a ticker. It's what I use for the next stats, and if you hit refresh every 2 minutes or so, it's like one of those national deficit tickers that you see on the side of the road sometimes. The number of deaths went up by like 200 from the time I started this piece, which is like 2 hours ago to now.
But that's worldwide, though, right?
Right, yeah. So infected worldwide now is 169,533. Number of deaths, 6,515. Number of recovered, 77,753, which is good. But it's just climbing by the minute now. More cases outside of China than there are inside of China now for the rest of the world.
Yeah, China has in fact, more new cases coming from outside China now than inside China.
Right. Cases in the U.S., over 3,600, 3,621. Deaths, 63. We'll get into some of the other countries that are being slaughtered by this thing later. But let's check in with the mortality rate, which is important to kind of, maybe ease some people's minds, maybe, scare some people. Obviously, the worst mortality rate is for people 80 years or older. It's at 14.8% right now, which is extremely high. 70 to 79 is 8%. 60 to 69 is 3.6. Then 50 to 59, you really start to get lower. 50 to 59 is 1.3. Pretty much everything under that is in the 0.2 to 0.4 range. No fatalities reported so far between 0 and 9 years old, which is awesome. So it is It is an old person's disease or virus, but it's also pretty terrible for the young people who are susceptible to it. Like if you read accounts of like 20-some-year-olds, 30-some-year-olds who get it,
and they can be killed by it if they're really susceptible to it. It does not sound fun. It sounds the same as the old people, basically.
Right.
You know, no one's really pointed out that this could be like the Pied Piper of diseases, or reverse Pied Piper.
What's that?
Specifically, that we could have a Lord of the Flies situation if everyone but the 0 to 9 demographic were killed by corona.
The virus would really have to step its game up.
Who would be king, though?
I think, nearly deadly enough.
The fat kids would be king.
Right, yeah. The bullies.
Yeah, the bullies.
Coming from 2 ex-fat kids, you guys sound like maybe you have a little bias.
No, I'd be one of the first dead. And as Will said, yeah, Will's right. You know, the death rate of people with pre-existing conditions, like if you have cardiovascular disease, diabetes, those rates are like 7.3 and higher. Respiratory disease, 6.3%. Hypertension, 6%. You know, obviously cancer, but no pre-existing conditions overall. I think is only 0.9%, which is good news. But again, let's look at some bigger numbers. Italy. 24,747 cases and climbing. New cases in just like the week, over 3,500, 368 deaths. I mean, Italy is getting hammered. And
they're on complete country lockdown, but way too late.
Way too late.
Did you guys see that video of that village in Italy?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Italy.
Sicily. Yeah, they're all
singing some Rihanna song. And this is how out of touch
They've sung
I
a bunch
am.
of different songs, yeah.
Well, I learned about a lot of new pop songs I didn't know about from
watching the
Italians.
Sicilians.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's crazy. It's so Spain just went on lockdown, which had a huge spike in numbers over the weekend to almost 8,000 cases and 1,500 deaths.
So they're like the new Italy, basically.
They're like the new Italy. Germany is spiking. I mean, everywhere in Europe, the cases are.
Germany just locked down their borders. I saw that right before we started recording.
Germany's going to handle this pretty handily, in my opinion. Germany's going to figure this one out.
They have the
quick.
capacity to really band up as a team if history says anything.
Yes,
that I disagree with.
Yeah. So apparently Spain's using like drones and stuff to even make sure that people are staying inside. The travel ban that Trump announced went into effect, and airports are absolutely fucked. I saw reports of basically full day wait times to get bags through customs for Americans scrambling home from Europe. No European citizens are allowed to enter the country still, and probably won't be for months. Schools are closed. New York City closed schools, the largest school system in the country. Pretty much everywhere schools are closed. My son's off for at least 3 weeks, and we'll be paying about 1% attention.
Closed schools this as well. So everywhere.
Yeah, I mean every state's pretty much closing schools, so he's going to be paying about 1% attention to his online learning classes they have in place. The governor of Puerto Rico issued a curfew from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. for all citizens. So that's kind of the first U.S. Place where curfews and just telling people to stay inside and mandatory is happening. The governor of Illinois closed all restaurants and bars today. Maryland's governor closed the casinos, racetracks. I mean, I can just keep going on and on about this shit because it's just going to keep happening.
Yeah, everything. Basically, we're going to eventually end up on like a total country quarantine sooner than later.
Right.
We're hearing rumors that domestic travel, not only flight but highway could be soon limited. I mean, we're gonna end up totally. You gotta stay home. I mean, that's the way you stop the spread of this thing. You wash your hands and then you stay home. But Wes, I actually did a little bit of research this weekend. If you don't mind me,
of course,
saying
please.
A theory, real quick. I think the coronavirus is a clingy beta. Okay. So this thing is everywhere. It's trying to get you, trying to touch you all over the place, always trying to cling on to you. But it's a beta. You know what it fears? Anabolic steroids. UV light, being too hot and dry or too wet and cold, and apparently weed too, allegedly, and also every single cleaning product. So I think the way to beat this thing is you quarantine away from it, but if you get it inside your house, you just bully it with steroids, weed, and then sterilizers, and then, maybe turn on like a UV lamp if you used to grow pot, something like that.
Yeah,
and
just spray the shit out of everything with Lysol.
What if we made hats? I'm talking bucket hats are making a comeback. Remember bucket hats from the 1980s?
Yeah.
They were the hats that like Run DMC rocked.
Yeah.
What if we made bucket hats where the brims, the underside of the brims, were shooting UV light down?
UV lights. That's a good
I
idea.
like that.
So
and it has an attached mask as
That's
well.
a great
like
idea, Pat. You better.
Think about that. Try to cough in my face.
That's
Good luck. My UV defender moat will cut it down.
That's a good idea, Pat. I like that a lot. I
got a patent attorney. Anyone know a patent attorney?
You better get on it before this releases tomorrow.
We're putting this out on iTunes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any listeners out there that are patent attorneys
or want to steal his idea, get in touch.
Patent yourself, bud.
Yeah. My buddy Dave in Portland sent me something. It's becoming like the purge, where police have said they will stop responding in person to calls to protect officers from the coronavirus and others they serve. Of course, the purge is like dramatic, but just another example of how serious this is getting. Of course, they'll still respond to life-threatening situations. But if you have if you want to report that your neighbor's playing music too loud, good luck getting a cop out there.
Or if you're trying to get out of a real nasty divorce,
right? Well,
Dateline.
Yeah. I mean, I have plenty of weapons inside my house. I'm readying them.
Yes, Will is more prepared than any of us. And look, the reality here is there won't be enough hospital beds for everyone trying to rush to the hospital if this fucker hits us like it has hit Italy and the rest of Europe. So unless you are 50 or older or have a pre-existing condition, it's probably going to be a fend for yourself situation, much like the flu. And save those beds for the elderly. Don't be the 35-year-old guy in the lifeboat on the Titanic. And do not panic if you get it. Read the stats. Take care of yourself like you would the flu. And chances are very, very high that you will survive. So just don't panic. In some good news, the Fed is slashing target interest rates to near zero. So now's a great time to buy some shit or get a
refinance.
Refinance. Get a loan like a Jeep to drive into the mountains and stay there for a while. I'm not sure if it affects mortgage rates because I know the Fed just actually raised them again last week to 3.65 or whatever they are. So I'm not sure about the mortgage rates. I doubt mortgage rates are going to go to zero. But short-term loans, get out there.
Wes, what if you have a 130 credit score?
Then you're fucked.
Strong.
Mm-hmm.
And $600 for down payment. Can I get a house?
No,
you cannot. No. Not unless you plan to just go out and buy it and build it yourself.
You're
you can't
a while away from the credit to have a house with those figures.
It's like 160.
Wes, what else we got? We got to move on.
Yeah, let's move on. New CDC guidelines. Cancel everything with 50 or more people for 8 weeks, like your wedding, concert, anything where you contribute to spreading the disease, which is probably a precursor to a total lockdown, like we said. We'll bring you a funny one about these assholes, brothers Matt and Noah Colvin of Tennessee, who bought up $10,000 to $15,000 worth of hand sanitizer in some pharma bro type scheme to gouge prices to those in need of it. The two assholes bought up all the hand sanitizer all over Tennessee and Kentucky, and then tried to sell it on Amazon. The country publicly shamed them and threatened their lives, which is a bit harsh. I think the fact that they're out $15,000 and nowhere to sell their product is good enough for this one. I mean, what else? Yeah. What Starbucks? You can't even go into a Starbucks anymore, so it's gotten that bad. So not much more to say. Says Starbucks. They to go only.
They won't let you in.
Yeah.
Drive-through only.
Drive-through only to Starbucks. Down. So wash your fucking hands. What else can we say?
Everybody wash your hands. Everybody stay safe. Keep the elderly safe. Don't spread that shit around. All right, let's talk about the Democratic debate on Sunday night. March 15th, it was a debate. Bernie versus Joe, one-on-one. Nobody in attendance. Just 3 moderators and the 2 old guys who both sounded like they had coronavirus. So that's pretty much how it went. But before we get into breaking this debate down, this debate breakdown is brought to you by Predictit.org, the stock market of politics. Go to Predictit.org/promo/hardfactor20 to bet on debate props every single time there's a debate and every single election, and maybe bet on Bernie to talk more than Joe and cash your ticket every single time, because that happened every single time, including last night.
That was a lock. I'm so mad I didn't get in on it. Stupid.
It was negative 180. It was just there for the taking. And then also bet on Joe to wipe the floor with Bernie in every election, because that's what's been going on. So there you go. Yep. You have 2 locks. You just know how it's going to go. Bernie's going to outdo Joe in the debate. Joe's going to outdo Bernie at the voting booth. Yep. Bang, there it is. Make some money. All right, now let's get into it. So Sunday night on CNN, we saw them square off one-on-one. Before the debate, Biden was leading Sanders 61 to 32% in public opinion for who wants to be the Dem nominee. And I'm sure Tulsi isn't the entire 6% that's missing, so she's probably just hanging around for no reason, even though, we miss you, Tulsi.
Yeah,
anyways, we wish they'd let her on stage, but they didn't. So the debate, like we said, coronavirus style, just 2 of them and 3 moderators. It started with Joe Biden coughing directly into his hand for his coronavirus answer. And then he forgot the name of H1N1 and the word pandemic in general. And also he kept calling it Ebola. Bernie and Joe obviously both feel that they would do better than Trump with handling this. And Biden says that he's done it all before with Obama and that he would do it all again via national emergency. So exactly the same as what Trump has done. And he also said he would make it all free and bring in the military, which is pretty much the exact same strategy that Trump has employed.
Biden did bring up a good point, though, which is there needs to be a uniform standard for quarantines and what needs to be happening right now coming out of the Situation Room, which I feel like we don't have. I feel like there's a lot of suggestion.
Sure. Well, the CDC is setting the standards like Wes just said. So his answer to me was basically I do the same thing as Trump. That's my take on it. Bernie says that it exposes the need for Medicare for all and Big Pharma to not be in control because, as you noticed, they needed Big Pharma to sort of get all the brakes off of this process. And then they both mentioned the need to pay people who have to stay home due to the quarantine situation. And they both agree that illegal immigrants should be allowed to get treatment. The people staying home is in agreement with Trump. The illegal immigrants is not. Felt that Bernie was superior overall on the coronavirus subject. What do you guys think?
I mean, I kind of feel like all these promises, especially to people that are, off work and stuff, is kind of end up going to be like, a FEMA situation where people are just going to have to fucking, you'll see documentaries about people that lost their jobs and are just can't get in touch with FEMA or can't get in touch with these funds that are being appropriated for them. I think it's going to be one of those situations, unfortunately. Hopefully not, but it's a big promise. And
well, it definitely will. But I mean, in terms of the way that they said they would respond, Biden was kind of like, well, I do national emergency the same exact as we're doing today. And Bernie was like, I do that plus change the system. And so to me, that was a little bit of a more insightful answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, in this situation, national emergency, I mean, FEMA's, there's going to be lots of fallout that you have to deal with in the immediate. But you have to think long term too.
Yep.
Let's see.
I didn't really think either candidate had a better coronavirus scenario.
So you thought it was the same?
I thought. I mean, I do agree that the CDC is coming out and saying things. I think it needs to be coming from the White House because a lot, like as sad as it is, a lot of people don't know what the fuck the CDC. A lot of people don't know what the fuck the CDC is, and they don't have they don't
part of the executive.
Yeah, no, I know what it is. I know what the CDC is. I guess my point is like I feel like people see in this day of misinformation, it's really important to have a singular voice that's probably the president.
Yeah. Pat,
when it comes to really important things like
so you'd want Biden to tell you how to deal with the coronavirus when he just coughed into his own hand.
I'd want whoever our fucking leader is to come up and be like, these are the CDC regulations. This is the word of God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pat. The misinformation is pretty crazy. I was at the grocery store and there was a young girl in there and there was an old man wearing a mask, and she was like, "Why are you wearing a mask? Are you sick?" And he's like, "No, I'm trying to prevent being sick." And she's like, "That doesn't work. It only works if you're sick." That's how misinformed the country is to not know that wearing a mask can also prevent you from getting sick. It's
the right type of mask. It's good to have something covering your mouth regardless because you don't want to get that shit coughed into your mouth.
Yeah.
Biden. Okay, Pat. I do agree though. There was nothing in this. We need to go fast.
Yes,
because we're running behind. So I do agree though, Pat. There was nothing in this debate that would set either of them apart from each other. I thought that Bernie did slightly better. I mean, I've got notes on every single part. He got Biden to lie on camera about Social Security, saying that he has always supported it when in fact he has supported removing it in the past.
Well, that's a good point, Will. And I think that's the main difference, in my opinion, was that Bernie really hammered Biden's voting record hard and was like, look, you voted for this.
He got Biden to lie a couple of times, in my estimation. Once about Social Security, also about the PACs, how his ads are funded.
That was fucked up. That Biden is pretending that, America doesn't know what a super PAC is, and that sucks. And I wish that someone was like, Bernie was essentially like, well, what about the PACs?
Yep. And then, Pat, not only that, but CNN jumped to commercial before they let Bernie respond about the super PACs. Mm-hmm. So if you don't think that there's support from media companies to certain candidates on all sides, you're crazy.
Right.
Because it was on full display in this debate, in my opinion. The closing arguments, basically, Bernie wants to redesign government. and get corporations out of it. Biden, to me, wants to be the status quo. He wants to be the corporate Democrat who is basically what I would describe as Trump who believes in science.
Yeah, Biden wants to keep the Democratic Party pretty much as it is, and Bernie wants to really shake it up. That's kind of
I don't even know why Biden wants to be president. That's the thing for me. I'm like, why do you even want this, bro? Is it to get back to the White House? Like, what does he know?
Well, I mean,
are the sheets great?
Yeah.
Is the bathroom fantastic?
It's about
he can
power.
order a sandwich anytime he wants.
Power and control, Pat. Power and control. The Democratic Party wants power and control back, and the people who are at the helm are just as friendly with corporations as the Republicans. So, in terms of who's funding those people, a lot of the same people are funding Trump and Biden.
Truth.
Yeah. So anyways, that's just my take on the funding aspect. In terms of how this went, I don't think it's going to sway anybody. I'd say that Biden's going to keep crushing elections. Bernie's going to keep being looked at as a socialist, communist who has no shot. And it's going to be Biden-Trump in my estimation.
The best way to describe it, guys, it was like the last round of the Royal Rumble, which you really got to be a wrestling fan to watch. Early rounds of the Royal Rumble when there's 14 candidates, it's like a fucking shouting match.
Right, yeah, it's the one-on-one. The fight, they're both like limping.
You got to appreciate the sport.
I thought Bernie kind of embarrassed Joe, to be honest with you. I think Bernie clearly won. He was treating him like someone who was much smarter. Like, hey, remember you did say that, and that was good of you that you changed your mind on that. He was kind of treating him like a fucking idiot. Yeah.
Well, sure, but the thing is like, was it enough to change anything?
No, I don't know if it was enough, but I mean, to me, it was clear who the Democrats should nominate.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so too. Yeah. If I was watching that, I'd be like, man, one guy's sort of outperforming him, and the other. But I don't know. It hasn't been. It's been that way every time.
Yeah,
Biden emerges as the favorite.
Gentlemen, 155 years of combined political experience up there. Two geniuses were arrested in New Jersey for using cell phones to smuggle drugs and cell phones into a federal prison in Burlington County. They were using the cell phones to control drones that were dropping contraband right there into the prison yard.
That's awesome.
Pretty awesome. Something we've all talked.
That's a good scheme, yeah.
It's a great scheme, right? So the men had been raining down a cache of marijuana, steroids, cell phones, SIM cards, and syringes.
These guys are not going to catch the coronavirus.
That's true. Well, the steroids kind of confused me. I mean, do you why are you going to do cycles in jail?
To get huge. Swole. Yeah, exactly.
The biggest
Have
guy.
You ever had a friend that went to jail and then came back and they're in great shape?
No, I haven't. Everyone I've known that's gone to jail has been in jail for like 3 months.
You never had
That's enough time to get ripped.
Murderous friend.
I never had I never had a prison buddy. Okay. Jail friends, yes. Anyway, according to a statement from the Department of Justice in New Jersey, special agents of the U.S. Department of Justice Office of the Inspector General obtained evidence of at least 7 drone deliveries from July 2018 containing contraband meant for inmates at Fort Dix. These gentlemen used cell phones to coordinate the drops, and including text messages, aerial shots of locations at Fort Dix to better position the drops and discuss weather conditions, etc. On the same day as a drone drop in April 2019, local police in the area conducted a vehicle stop on Dencilo and Gulcharan, who are the 2 guys who were arrested, less than 5 miles away from Fort Dix. And guess what they found? Bunch of contraband.
Drones and drugs.
Yeah. Anyway, these guys have been arrested subsequently and now are in jail. So hopefully they're going to be like kings when they get in there.
Well, yeah, because they've been supplying the jail forever. But then they got caught, though. So
yeah, pretty terrible. 150 SIM cards, 74 cell phones, batteries and chargers, 35 syringe, 2 metal saw blades. I bet they tried to recover those specifically.
Yeah.
Anyway, smart prisoners. Guys, for most of us that have found it hard to get out of debt and easy to get into, there's a solution, and that's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that knows that you're more than just a credit score of 130 in my case, and offers smarter interest rates to help you pay off high interest.
That's not really your
debt.
Score.
What is my real score?
That's not really your score.
Are you in the 500s, Pat?
I'm not going to say. Upstart goes beyond the traditional credit score when assessing your credit worthiness. The actual reward, they actually reward you based on your education and job history. That doesn't really help me, but it probably helped the majority of you guys in the form of a smarter rate. Upstart believes that you're more than just your credit score. They believe in you. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate. Since it's a soft pull, it won't affect your credit score. I know that's a concern of a lot of you guys, not me exactly, but some normal people might be concerned about the checking of the score, dinging their rate. Best part, once the loan is approved and accepted, most people are to get their funds the next business day. So 400,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards to meet their financial goals. Do it yourself. See why Upstart's ranked in the top category, 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot. Hurry, go to upstart.com/hard to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes. That's upstart.com/hard. And guys, finally, for some reason, Applebee's thinks that they need to bring back 25-cent boneless wings right now. So that's happening. That's just doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
I mean, it was in the works. It's not going to stop.
Wait, right now? When did they announce that? Today?
Like 3 days ago.
Oh, poor planning.
Because that's what you want to do when there's a pandemic, is introduce a finger food to America's Bar and Grill. And that's going to do it for Hard Factor, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Are we doing gymnastics? How
are we doing on time?
We got
20.
Some time.
We got
Go for
a
it.
few minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, then we got one more fun one for you. USA Gymnastics tweeted a very happy birthday to Simone Biles on Saturday. You guys remember Simone? She was the very highly decorated gymnast.
Isn't it Simone Baez, not Biles?
It's Biles, bro.
I thought it was Biles, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You thought it was Baez? You thought Biles was Baez.
Simone Biles? I don't know. It just doesn't sound right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Simone Biles.
Okay.
Or Simone Baez.
Okay.
If you're West. Anyway, USA Gymnastics tweeted to Simone Biles on Saturday saying, happy birthday to the most decorated gymnast of all time, Simone Biles. We know you will only continue to amaze and make history. Star emoji, birthday emoji, medal emoji, queen crown emoji. To which Biles said, quote, how about you amaze me and do the right thing and I have an independent investigation?
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So, not so fast. USA Gymnastics. Biles, of course, is referring to an investigation into how Larry Nassar, the creepy former USA team doctor, touched all these girls like a piece of human shit for the course of 15 years.
We covered it thoroughly. He covered all the girls thoroughly in the USA.
So there was a congressional investigation, but USAG has not done it. And also USAG offered $215 million as a settlement to the victims of Nassar, which Biles criticized. And the U.S. Olympic Committee began taking steps to revoke the USAG, the U.S. Olympic governing body's status in November 2019. Last year, the Wall Street Journal reported that the USAG withheld the investigation of the doctor's sexual abuse from Biles, despite the fact that she was among the first athletes the USAG learned were uncomfortable with the doctor. It was a lot of fucked up situations going on there, a lot of cover-ups, a lot of people afraid to say it was actually going on, and it was really wrong and
That's
terrible.
A fucked up situation.
So,
yeah. Hey, I don't want to end it on a bad note. So, terrible about USA Gymnastics. Hope they get that sorted out. But back to the coronavirus being a clingy little beta bitch. I'm going to set up my old weed growing light inside my house somewhere, and I'll post a video on Instagram sometime of me utilizing that for coronavirus prevention.
Post it
That's
by
my promise to you.
Do it by your door, so it's like like a vampire, like can't enter here.
Yeah,
coronavirus.
it's like the cleansing area.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet I could do, guys. I bet I could swap our softbox lights in our studio out with UVs. Lights.
We would look weird on camera, but
we'd be safe.
We'd be looking pretty.
And that's what the listener wants.
Safe.
And that's going to do it for Hard Factor. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hey, if you haven't, please follow us on social media. So we use two social media accounts. We use @HardFactor News and we use @Barstool News Network for different things that break different things. Barstool News Network being the parent. Give us a follow there if you can. If you haven't hit subscribe on Hard Factor, do it now. Apple Podcasts, I think it's a follow on Spotify, but it means a lot to us. We got a yearly review coming up, and we want to make sure we knock it out of the fucking park. We have had massive leaps, bounds growing over the last 6 months, and we really can't thank you guys enough, the Heart Hive, for helping us do that. Most importantly, don't get coronavirus, but double most importantly, have a great fucking day.